Hey guys, it's Brant in my head channel, and I'm back with another 80's album, The Panel Has Spoken video. And today, this is the way you're seeing it today is probably very similar to how I'm going to be doing it. Rick is not going to really be able to be in the 80's videos because honestly, I pull so much out of the man. We already work on things 2 to 3 hours a week, and just adding this another thing, to his schedule just makes like 6 hours. So it's a little too much. So, but he's here with us in spirit. He is on the panel. He did put in his votes, and it was funny, guys, because some people saw his votes on I think on YouTube, and they're like, "What? Why are you showing us what you're voting?"
I think I said that. I said, are we jumping the shark here? Because
Yeah,
we
it was
never
you,
see
John.
Rick's picks.
Yeah, it was you, John. So, yeah, he is going to be with the panel has spoken on the Kiss stuff. So most of the time, for the most part, I may have some regulars, but I'm going to have guests. And so today I'm joined by three fine individuals. To this side right here, to my left, is my buddy Aaron. My buddy Aaron. And I'm going to call him Anthony through this whole thing. So I don't know. That's just what I do. But yeah, I speak to Aaron every day via private messages, and we share a lot of talk about rock and metal and Kiss and horror and all kinds of other stuff. And then down in the corner, right-hand corner here, we have John B. Good from YouTube. And he's been on a previous video with me and Rick. And it's good to have him back. And down below me, we have Horror Gal Susan from Horror Gal from YouTube. So, guys, it's good to have everybody here for Shout at the Devil.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
And this is a good album. I figure we just get right into it because we've got four of us, and I want to have everybody have an opportunity to say a lot about the album as they get along. But yeah, Shout at the Devil. I tell you, this is not my original copy. My original copy is long gone. This is a reissue that I bought a few years ago. But I just always thought that they took Motley Crue borrowed a lot from Kiss. They borrowed a lot with their look, and they borrowed a lot with their imagery, the satanic stuff, and how Kiss was in the very beginning. Everybody thought they were knights in Satan's service, but they borrowed a lot from their packaging too. Because this is a single album, but it opens up double, and it has the one of my second favorite gatefolds of all time. I'm trying to get it in here, but that is just an amazing gatefold, and gave you a real close-up look at the band. And I remember just looking at this, and these guys, they were like Kiss in the very beginning. They were like Guns N' Roses that would come later in the very beginning. They were sleazy. They were dangerous. They were very adult content orientated. And, Kiss would kind of fall away from that in later years. Motley Crue would fall away from that in later years. And the Guns N' Roses would fall away from that in later years. But I remember getting this album, and I remember you saw the satanic on the front, and then you opened it up, and the inside cover had the satanic symbol on it, the pentagram, rather. And I remember I told this story before in my review of this album, that I took this and I masked off. I was a drummer at the time, and Tommy Lee had blown me away with Too Fast for Love, and he blew me away with this album too. But I took masking tape and masked off the front cover of my bass drum and spray painted red this on it, and had a pentagram on my my drum. And my mom would get mad at me but what I do is I just didn't turn it this way, and whenever my friends was going to be coming around, I would turn it this way. I kept the hoops loose enough to where just about 4 inches of movement, I could turn it from a star to a goat's head. And but I remember when this album came out. I've always been a big Motley fan, and I remember when this album came out, there's not a song on this album that I don't like. There are several number ones on here for me. I'd say even when I get down to the bottom two, I'm not below a 3 or a 4. But this was very hard for me to. It was very hard for me to pick, and it was very hard for me to predict. But this album was what kicked it into full gear. Was Shout at the Devil. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and I think it's it's not perfect, but it's damn near close, and it is considered. I do consider it one of their best albums that they made. So Anthony, we'll start with Aaron. We'll start with you. Sorry, man. I love you.
I love you, brother.
Start with you.
Well, I don't have a lot of Motley Crue stuff, first of all, so I made my own little pentagram here for you. So, well, when it came out, it was probably, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd grade, and there was just some really cool stuff to come out between like 83, 84, and that was a go-to. That was like that. This is like a summer album for me, for sure. Crank it up, open it like a day like today. It's beautiful here where I'm at. Crank it up. Open the windows, and it's just great. It's a really good album, real good summer album, and there was just so much good stuff that came out then. So, it's definitely one of my favorites of theirs for sure.
Okay, John, what about you?
Shout at the Devil. I was 9 years old when it came out, so I was really young. I was pretty young. It was right when I was starting to get into music, and this album was just so popular between me and my friends. It was I bought it on cassette, and when you bought it on cassette, it just had the 4 faces or the 4 guys on the front. It didn't have the pentagram, which was good because my mom would have probably made me throw it away if I bought the record. But I bought it with my own money. It was one of my first albums about my own money. Played the hell out of it. I still have it, and actually I was going to display it on this video. I found it like a couple days ago, and now I misplaced it again. I'm like, oh, geez. I'll probably find it tomorrow. But I still have it. It still plays fairly good. But, geez, that album, was probably, it was just so close to my my childhood that every song on there I love. There's not one that I skip. I just love that album. It's and the funny thing is, when I went to the music store in Batavia, New York, where I live and still do, the record shop was out of it. They didn't have Shout at the Devil. I think it was like a week or two after it was released, and they were out of it. So I had to buy Too Fast for Love. And the guy goes, "Well, we have Too Fast for Love," and I'm like, okay. So I bought that and loved that album, and I think 2 weeks later they got it back in stock, so I got both of them. So yeah, love the album. Great times. Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Susan?
I remember these songs, but I never had this album. I think the first album of Motley Crue that I actually owned was Theater of Pain, maybe? I can't remember what the first album was, but I did not own this for a long time. But I was familiar with some of the songs. And then when I was older, I actually got this album. But I don't have it here because I've only lived here for like 12 years now, something like that. But I'm a big fan of Mick's guitar playing, so that was a huge driving factor for me, was just his guitar riffs. His stuff is just amazing to me, so that was my whole thing with Motley Crue. And of course, like you said, like they borrow or an homage or rip off, everybody's got an opinion, but very Kiss inspired. So I was drawn to their like visual, theatrical presentation of their music too at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I agree. It's a great album. Everything on it is good. And obviously that whole anti-establishment, like marketing genius, if you tell somebody this is terrible, you can't, everybody wants it then. So it would draw more people to buy it than even normally. So yeah, I think it's a great album.
Just to touch on one more thing that you were saying, Brant, that they borrowed a lot of stuff from Kiss, but they never really admitted that. They didn't want to admit that they borrowed a lot from Kiss. They always said, no, we're not like Kiss. We're different. But geez, I mean, they even were starting to do face paint during, Shout at the Devil. Nikki had the lines in her eyes, and Tommy had the two stripes, and Mick had those, I don't know what it was, some kind of squares on his face. But yeah,
well,
it was cool. It was like my next Kiss.
The band as a whole was not really into worshiping the devil. That was mostly Nikki. And one of my viewers actually brought it up to me, and he sent me a message, asked me if I was going to touch on it, and I told him yes, where it wasn't really talked about in the dirt, but whenever Nikki was recording this album, he was dating Lita Ford, and him and Lita Ford got really bad into satanic worship, and he got real infatuated with the occult, and he wanted to name this album Shout with the Devil. And Elektra and Tom Zutaut was like, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. And he's like, no, that's what I do. That's what I want to do. And then supposedly one night they had an ordeal at their house at their apartment where knives and forks and stuff was flying around. And then Nikki came in the next day kind of shaking, and it's like, no, we're going to name it Shout at the Devil. How much truth? I think that would have been cool to put in the dirt, because I really enjoy the dirt. I've actually watched it probably about 30 times since it came out. Whether it's totally 100% accurate or not is beside the point. It's good entertainment. So let's go ahead and get into the panel. I want to read the panel off, and I'm going to also I'm going to have a segment in this video. In the 80s videos, I put a thing out on my social media, and I gave people an opportunity to tell me what their favorite song, to make a video and tell me what their favorite song off of Shout at the Devil was. And we did get some submissions back. So right after we read the panel, I'm going to introduce into that people talking about what their favorite song is. I'll edit that in, and then we'll get into us talking about the songs on the panel. We'll count them down. I've got my list over here beside me. So today we have the hosts, me, Aaron, John B. Good, and Susan. From Facebook, we have Ray Kelly, Paul Bertolino, Matt Ucci, Steve Rivas, Scotty Sky, Scott Rock. From Instagram, Jay Spence Metal, The Clarences, Tony P, Dylan Tucker, BizBag68, Jay Rucker. From Twitter, Kimchi Chris, R.C. Campbell, Darren Helliwell, Tony Rod, Bill Sharp, David King, Tom Dust, Matthew Smith, CC, Spooky Six from Twitter. Her mom, Tammy, she's actually in the video with her. And from YouTube, Sammy Pardo, Jesse Ray, Mick C, Two Gay Dads, Les Wadley, Hard Rock Reverie, It's All For You Demon, Rick. Raven FM, Sublime 130, Kiss Carolina, Hard Rock, Metalhead, Stephen Goodman, Joel Pegg, Greek Freak, Perpetual Art, John O, John Epperly, or Scott Epperly, Demetrius K, Mark Morris, Trevor Bullock, That Toy Bonnie Guy, Jeremy Kimona, and Indy Colt 777. So that gives us a total of 48 for our panel. All right. So we're going to show those videos of those people talking about, the panelists talking about their number one songs right now.
Hi, I'm Jaden Rucker from South Carolina, and I'm here to talk about Shout at the Devil. So, this is my second favorite Motley Crue album. My favorite is Too Fast for Love. That's actually one of my favorite albums of all time, but this is also up there. Really great album. My favorite song on it is tied for Red Hot and 10 Seconds to Love, because they're just great songs, and Tommy Lee is amazing on there, and him, Eric Carr, and Alex Van Halen are the reason I wanted to play drums, so I owe that to him. I have it on vinyl, CD, and cassette, and I also own this. This is the HELTER SKELTER picture disc with Red Hot and some original leather mixes of songs. Anyway, have a great day and God bless.
So my favorite song from Shout at the Devil, normally the songs that are singles or videos aren't my favorite, but in this case, that is not true. Looks That Kill, my favorite song from Shout at the Devil. It's I would never consider Motley Crue a metal band, but this is a perfect metal song. That opening riff with the do 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 do. It's old school metal with the muted E's, and I like how that's the riff that goes into the verse. I think the chorus is so evil sounding when you really just listen to the music. You know, the do 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 do. It's demonic. I mean, it sounds like musically that could be in a horror movie, I feel like. Mick, awesome on guitar. I love the whammy he does when Vince says, you might not make it back. It's of course the guitar solo totally kicks ass. You can say what you want about Vince Neil these days, but he sounds so badass on this whole record, and that high-pitched screeching, it suits the material so much. And I love the chant, "She's got the looks that kill," which, you know, after the chorus, I guess that's a continuation of the chorus, they go back into the main verse riff and do that chant over it, and it's just so effective. And lastly, there's that cool little lick they do a couple times, the one of the first things I learned on bass, and I just love it. It's a cool little riff with a lot of chromatics in there.
Hello in my head and hello panel. My favorite song off of Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue is Looks That Kill. I love the chugging riff throughout the song. I love the pre-chorus, which reminds me a lot of a video game song actually called The Palace Theme from Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, because every time I hear that song it reminds me of the pre-chorus to Looks That Kill. Definitely look it up if you have the time. I love this short but sweet guitar solo by Mick Mars as well, and it's also been one of my top 5 favorite Motley Crue songs as well. So that is why it was my number 1 song off of Shout the Devil by Motley Crue. And it was tough to rank as well. I love the album start to finish. There's not a bad song on it, in my opinion.
Hey Brent, it's Cece, and this is my mom Tammy. We're both huge fans of Motley Crue and the Shout the Devil album. My favorite song off that album would have to be 10 Seconds to Love. I really like the meaning behind it, and I love the instrumentals, like Nikki's bass playing and Tommy just fucking pounding the drums. It's so awesome. What's yours?
Mine would be Too Young to Fall in Love, and that's more because of the video than really the song, because it was the first time I heard Motley Crue and the first time I saw them. And the video was just awesome with the guys in the leather and the big hair and everything. And
it was love at first sight.
It was love at first sight. So yeah, Too Young to Fall in Love.
Rock on.
I'm here to tell you that Bastard is the greatest song ever recorded by Motley Crue. Why? It's self-explanatory.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into the panel. We'll start with our predictions. We got 10 songs. I had people combine Shout at the Devil and In the Beginning. So that leaves us with 10 tracks. Nice even number. So we'll start with our predictions for number 10, and we will go from Aaron to John to Susan back to me. So Aaron, starting with you, what's your prediction for number 10?
God Bless the Children of the Beast.
Okay.
That would be my prediction as well, as God Bless the Children of the Beast.
That's my prediction for number 10 as well.
That's my prediction for 10 as well.
More of an interlude.
And guess what? At number 10 with 90 points, the panel chose God Bless the Children of the Beast. I picked it 10th as well. And that doesn't mean that I don't like it. I think it's amazing. A little funny trivia. I actually made up drums to this song. Whenever I used to, because I used to sit down and I learned how to play this album front to back. And whenever God Bless the Children of the Beast came on, I would let Mick play for a little bit. And then when that one electric guitar comes in with that da na 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 na, I would start playing there. And I'd play something on the ride, and I'd do a rim shot on the snare, and I'd do some bass stuff. And as it worked on, I would get more and more and more complex. I tried to think the other night if I even remembered what I used to do exactly, and I don't. But yeah, I made up drums to this. But I picked it. I picked it 10 for me. It's good, but it's just a thing that Mick did, and so. What about you? What about you guys, Anthony? Aaron, starting with you.
Oh, 10, yeah.
Okay.
Last one.
What about you, John?
I, you know what? I almost picked it last, but then I had listened to it again, and I couldn't. I picked it at number 9, and like you said in the beginning of this, I mean, all these tracks are great, but I'm a guitar player, so I really appreciate what Mick did with that arrangement. I mean, it was pretty freaking good. I mean, I would listen to that song a lot. I think I learned it when I was 12 or 13, and I was trying to play it again a couple days ago because I might put a video out of it. And it's a great song. I mean, I love the melody. And the funny thing is, somebody mentioned on YouTube, it might have been on your channel, Brant, that Lita Ford and Ozzy Osbourne kind of used that melody in "Close Your Eyes" in that beginning part, which I was like, I had to go back and listen. I'm like, oh crap, it's true. I mean, it sounds pretty much like it. But yeah, I love that melody line that Mick puts in "God Bless the Children of the Beast." It was a masterpiece by that guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I absolutely love Mick. I mean, that's the main driving force for me liking Motley Crue at all is for Mick. But yet it was my number 10. But like we said, like there's not really a bad song on this in my opinion. It's the whole album is pretty solid, and I do love what he did with it. That's just where it is for me.
All right, so that brings us to number 9, the prediction for number 9. What's your prediction, Aaron?
Danger.
Helter Skelter for me.
Okay.
I predicted Danger.
And I don't know why, but I predicted Bastard at number 9. At 167 points, the panel picked for number 9, they picked Helter Skelter for number 9. Nobody picked it as their favorite. I picked it as my third favorite. I love Helter Skelter. It's fun as hell to play on the drums, and I love the way that Motley took a Beatles song and kind of turned it into something that's their own. Typo Negative, one of my favorite bands. I don't talk about them much on my channel because they have such a small fan base, but the fan base they do have is hardcore. But they're probably my favorite band, even more favorite than Kiss. They do a lot of Beatles covers, and they slow them way the hell down, because anybody that knows Typo Negative knows that they play low and slow. Susan, you're shaking your head. Are you a Typo Negative fan, or at least not knowledgeable of them? Yeah, I love Typo. I love them. But yeah, I love Helter Skelter. I picked it third for me. It's my third favorite song on this album. What about you, Aaron? Where'd you pick it?
Yeah, Helter Skelter, number 8 for me. It's all right. It's not one of my favorites, but...
Do you not like it because it's a cover song?
Yeah, kind of more like that way, yeah. It's all right.
I think that what dings it a lot. I've always noticed sometimes with Kiss, cover songs have a tendency to get dinged. So...
Yeah.
What about you, John? Where does Helter Skelter come in for you?
I picked it as 8 as well, but I love their version of it, and that's why I'm wearing... I didn't have a Motley Crue shirt, but I'm wearing the Beatles shirt just because of Helter Skelter. But they made that track their own. I mean, if you listen to the two tracks, if you listen to the Beatles version and then Motley Crue, they made that their own. I mean, when I was 9 years old, I thought that was Motley Crue. I thought Motley Crue wrote that song. I know it said Lennon and McCartney in the credits, but I'm 9 years old. Who pays attention to that? I thought it was Motley Crue, and I loved that song, and I loved the way it ended. If you remember the way it ends, you can almost hear like the drum set rattling, or maybe he drops his drumsticks or something. but you can hear it right at the end. But love that track, and it's a great way to close side one.
And I picked it as my number 5. I actually loved it because I just thought, okay, like, what are the odds they're covering a Beatles song? So, I mean, and of course, again, this is as an adult, not, younger, but to me, if somebody talks about Helter Skelter or says it, what I hear in my mind is Motley Crue's version. So to me, that says a lot about what they did with it. If somebody mentions the song or whatever, I don't hear the Beatles in my head. I hear Motley Crue. So I'm like, okay, you know what? That's gotta elevate it for me. So yeah, it's my number 5.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to number 8. What is the predictions for number 8? Aaron?
Knock 'em Dead, Kid.
Okay.
Number 8 for me is Danger.
Okay.
I predicted Bastard.
All right. I predicted for number 8, the panel would choose 10 Seconds to Love. At 187 points, the panel for number 8 chose Danger. 4 people, the Clarences, Jesse Ray, Perpetual Art, and one of our hosts, picked Danger as their number 1 song. I picked Danger as my number 9, my next to last, and it's not because I don't like it. I love Danger. I love the story that it tells. I think that if it wasn't released as a single, they could have at least done a video, because their videos, not so much Looks to Kill, but definitely Too Young to Fall in Love, they were kind of trying to tell a story. And if you're trying to tell a story in a video, Danger would have been the perfect song to do it. I just remember whenever, I guess my stigma towards this song, even though I like it now, and I actually love it now, and I love the drums. The stuff that Tommy's doing in the beginning, when Vince is singing and all the stuff he's doing there, that was, when I was a kid, it was my favorite part of the song. But once it kind of kicked in and Tommy didn't do much of that stuff anymore, I didn't like it when I was a kid. I almost felt like the album petered out at the end. It's like they had all these kick-ass songs, Bastard, Knock 'em Dead Kid, and then they have a song called Danger, and they get to it and it don't sound very dangerous. It don't sound dangerous, but then now as an adult, I'm listening to the words and listening to it with 50-year-old ears rather than 14-year-old ears, and hearing what the song's about. Me and the boys made a pact, live or die. No turning back. It's grown on me. A lot of times when I was a kid, I never made it to the end of this song. So it's 9 for me, but I do like it. So where does Danger come in for you?
Number 9. It's just kind of, I agree with you. It just kind of peters out. It's kind of a sleepy song, and when it comes on, I usually turn off the CD or whatever and just go to the next thing. Just kind of lulls me to sleep. So I throw it down to the bottom.
Well, it was my number 1. I love Danger, but if you would have asked me when I was 9 or 10 years old what my number 1 would be, it would not have been this song. It's grown on me. I love the lyrics. The lyrics are killer. Nikki Sixx, he batted a fly ball with this one. I love the lyrics. When I was a kid, when Vince Neil had that car accident in 1984, and everybody thought that Motley Crue was done after that. They thought, Vince is going to go to jail for 3 years. Me and this friend of mine, Mike, were analyzing the lyrics of this song, Danger, and we thought that when they said, there's a line in the song that says, strong as steel, overkill, no deal. We thought Vince was saying strong as overkill and automobiles. We were like, oh, wow. It was like a fruition of what's going to happen with that car accident, which was kind of weird. But that's just something weird that my friend and I were into at the time. But, geez, yeah, I just love Danger. It's a great song. It's got a great guitar, melody. Love it. Love the lyrics too.
Okay, Susan.
I kind of agreed more with you and Aaron on this one. I had it as my number 9 because of the same thing. It just doesn't quite keep the same energy, at least for me listening. So again, it's not a bad song. It's just that's where it comes in for me.
All right, so that brings us up to number 7. What's predictions for number 7?
I predict Red Hot.
Number 7, my prediction is Bastard.
And I had predicted Helter Skelter for number 7.
Okay. I predicted the panel was going to choose Knock 'em Dead Kid. With 226 points, breaking into the 200s, 226 points for number 7, the panel chose Bastard. 2 panelists, Scott Rock and Trevor Bullock, picked Bastard as their favorite song. I picked Bastard as my fourth favorite song. Once again, it's just one of those songs that I love playing drums to. 90% of the songs that's on this album. Tommy Lee is so fun and so phenomenal. I love this song. I mean, I love the energy behind this song. This is one of those songs. It's one of those autobiographical songs. I like how it kicks in that double time during the chorus, and then when it goes back into the verse, it drops back into that halftime groove. So yeah, it's number 4 for me. What about you, Aaron? What is Bastard for you?
Number 6. I like it's a good song. I like Tommy Lee stuff too. Really good, fun song, upbeat song. I like it.
For me, Bastard, number 6 as well. Great song. I love the fade in. There's like a fade in drum intro, right out from what was the song before that? Looks That Kill, I think. And it fades in.
Yeah.
A drum intro fades in, and it's like, wow, that was pretty freaking cool. And the lyrics, out go the lights, in goes my knife, take out his light, consider that bastard dead. I mean, I think that was one of the songs that started that whole Tipper Gore thing with putting parental stickers on albums, if I remember right. I think I remember something with, she didn't like this song, but great song. But there's just 5 more songs that are better than this one for me.
And for me, it was my number 8. Same. I love Tommy Lee. I love that he brings so much energy to the table with his playing, and he thinks about everything. He thinks about, how it's translating. Like so many people try to like take the drummer for granted, and the drummer is what's driving the whole damn song. The drummer's not doing well. Nobody's doing well. That's just how it's going to be. And he really has amazing work. I mean, on the whole album, but again, just because I'm more guitar centric, that's why it's at number 8 for me.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us up to number 6. What's the predictions for number 6?
I predicted Bastard for number 6 for the panel.
I predicted 10 Seconds to Love.
I predicted Knock 'em Dead Kid.
Okay. I predicted Helter Skelter for 6, that the panel would choose that. At number 6, with 262 points, the panel chose Red Hot.
Ooh.
Two panelists, Hard Rock Reverie and Jay Spence Metal, picked Red Hot as their favorite song. I picked Red Hot as my 7th favorite song. And it's not because I don't like it. It's just that's where I got 6 songs ahead of it. This is one of the first songs that I got to learn to play double bass on. If I'm not mistaken, I can't think of one right off the top of my head that I played double bass on other than this song, maybe other than The Oath from Kiss off of the Elder. But I don't think I played it well because I was 11 and been playing drums since I was 8, versus when this album came out, I was 13, 14 and already in my first band. I love this song. I love the, everything about it. I love that they say, "Shout at the devil, we've laughed at your wars." I love that they put the name of the album in another song other than the song that has the name of the album. I love that they did that. That was kind of cool. That was kind of a Beatlesque type thing to do. That was kind of reminiscent of the stuff that the Beatles would do. It's just cool seeing those influences and how they interpret it in their own way in their music and in their lyrics. So Red Hot is 7 for me.
I had Red Hot at number 2. I love that song. And talk about the sound of a bass drum. I don't know what they did on the album, but it doesn't even sound like he's using his feet. It's more like he's using his fists. Just so.
Yeah.
I love the bass drums on the whole album, but specifically on that song. It's a great song. That's number 2 for me.
Red Hot's my number 4, and at this point, it could have been number 1. I love this song. I mean, it's got great drumming. It's a great way to open the next, to open side 2. And I always wondered what the heck Nikki Sixx meant by "Fight for the Black Sharks." Is that a gang or something? I never knew what that meant, and I've looked it up, and I don't know if there's even an answer to that. But, see what evil brings. Can't you see we're out for blood? I mean, oh my God. I mean, this is a pretty tight song. I mean, love it. And again, it could have easily been my number 1, but I had to put it below at number 4.
And for me, it was number 6. So again, it's really great. It's just one that kind of fell in the middle for me.
Okay. All right. That brings us to the top 5. What is your prediction for number 5, Aaron?
10 Seconds to Love.
Number 5 for me is "Knock 'Em Dead, Kid."
Prediction for number 5 is 10 Seconds to Love.
Okay. My prediction for 5 was Red Hot. What the panel chose at number 5 with 267 points, they chose 10 Seconds to Love.
I guessed it right.
3 panelists, Kimchi Chris, Tom Dust, and CC Spooky 6, picked it as their favorite. I picked 10 Seconds to Love as my second favorite song on this album. It's technically my number 1 favorite song on this album, tied with my other number 1 favorite, tied with my number 3 favorite. My top 3 on this album are all number 1s. But I tell you, I love 10 Seconds to Love. I love the imagery of what the song's about. I love the way it just kind of starts, the gun, 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 gun. Oh, here I come, and just kind of starts. I love the solo in it. It's got a great solo in it. But my favorite part of this song, and you're talking about the drums, Aaron, the way Tommy's drum, his bass drum, and his snare sounds on that part after the solo when they break down. And it's just Nikki and Tommy, and for that, and that boom, tap, boom, tap. It's just so simple, but it fits, and it fits so well. And whenever I was out cutting my grass listening to this the other day, and I thought I was going to break my damn steering wheel on my riding lawnmower because I was like, my neighbors probably thought I was a damn idiot because I'm out there, big guy, bald-headed guy, Shrek on my, beating the hell out of my steering wheel on my riding lawnmower. But yeah, man, I love this song, 10 Seconds to Love. I've always loved it. I love the words to this song. It's such a dirty, nasty, sleazy song, and the 14-year-old and the 13-year-old in me loved it, and the 51-year-old that I am now still loves it. So yeah, 10 Seconds to Love is my second favorite. Could just easily be my first.
I had a number 7, but not to slight it anyway. It's just I like songs better than that. But yeah, it's a good song. I like it, but 7 for me. But no shot on it. No hate towards it at all whatsoever.
Like I said, I love every track on this album, so I had to pick one of them last, and I picked this one last just because I like the other 9 ones better. But I love this track. I don't skip it, never. It's great. Like you said, Brant, the drumming on this is phenomenal. Almost all these songs, the drumming, every one of these songs, the drumming is phenomenal. But I had to have one of them last, so I had to pick it there.
And for me, it's number 3. So we're all kind of everywhere. For me, it's number 3. It was just one of those that, when I heard it, I couldn't get it out of my head. And, like you said, the drumming on it is phenomenal. It's just kind of the jam, just like you say, it's the jam, for me, at least, I enjoy it. I'm not ashamed. So yeah, it's my number 3.
All right. So that brings us to number 4. Prediction for number 4.
I got Helter Skelter.
I predicted Red Hot.
I predicted Red Hot too.
All right. For number 4, I predicted Danger. At number 4 with 270 points, the panel chose Knock 'Em Dead Kid. 4 panelists, my childhood friend Scotty Sky, Bill Sharp, Mick C, and myself picked Knock 'Em Dead Kid as their favorite song. I freaking love Knock 'Em Dead Kid. From the way it starts, that razor blade riff that's at the very beginning, and just the way this song builds. The drums on this are amazing. The solo on it's amazing. I love the words to it. I love the way it ends. I love the little drum solo we get from Tommy at the end with Vince screaming over it with all that reverb and echo on his vocals. I love Knock 'Em Dead Kid, and Knock 'Em Dead Kid is one of those autobiographical songs. It's one of those songs that's just so dangerous and so angry, and I remember just, this is always, there's other songs I like on this album, but this has long term been my most favorite song on this album. So yeah, it's number 1 for me. What about for you guys? What about for you, Aaron?
I had it number 4. Definitely a fun song. I don't know if anyone's ever done it before. I think it'd be a perfect intro song for a boxer or a fighter of some sort. But that's when I hear that song, I think of just a guy getting all ready to revved up, ready to go. It's a good song. It's a good fighting song to me, but I like it a lot for sure. Number 4.
It fell in as number 5 for me, but like I said, when you get to my top 5, they could have been number 1. But it's the first Motley Crue song that I learned on guitar. That da 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 da. Me and my friend Mike, we learned that song probably a year after this album was out. Great song, and like you said, Brant, yeah, I think that was about. Was it Vince or was it Nikki that got in a fight with the police? And I think weren't they posing as Hell's Angels, and then they were actually undercover cops? I don't know the whole story, but it's a freaking cool song.
When they started off at a 10. Most bands start off and then gradually work their way until debauchery, and they just started at a 10. That's it's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, it was my number 7, and I think it's just, I'm one of these people, for better or for worse, there are sentimental values to certain songs for me, so there are certain things that are always going to rank higher, even musically, if it's not as much my favorite, if I am emotionally tied to it for some reason. So that's why it's there. But yeah, it's a great song too.
All right, so that brings us to top 3. So what is the prediction for position number 3?
I got Looks That Kill.
Okay.
Number 3 fell in for me as Too Young to Fall in Love.
Okay.
John, I'm the same. I had Too Young to Fall in Love as number 3 prediction.
Yeah, I've got Too Young to Fall in Love as my number 3 also prediction. At 298 points, at number 3, the panel chose Too Young to Fall in Love. 8 panelists: Paul Bertolino, R.C. Campbell, Tony Rod, Matthew Smith, Rick from It's All For You Demon, John O, Stephen Goodman, and Tammy, that is Spooky Six's mom. They picked Too Young to Fall in Love as their number 1 song. I picked Too Young to Fall in Love for me as my 8th song. I like Too Young to Fall in Love, but it's one of those songs that it's just never really done anything for me. I actually like the video for Too Young to Fall in Love better than I do the song. Nothing really stands out to me to this song other than the guitar solo. But the drums, Tommy really doesn't do anything. I think the best thing about this song to me is the video. And I watched the video the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is cheesy. but back in the day it was the shit. I mean, that was the video that you waited to come on. There was, you waited to see. And if you flipped over there and it was at the end of it, you were like, damn it. But at least you got to see Tommy throw the rice at the guy. I mean, it carries.
This was the video that they copied Kiss's Lick It Up.
Yes,
video.
It's very much all hell's breaking loose type.
Or yeah.
It's very much all hell's breaking loose type video. Almost the parallels are uncanny. The little bit of humor and just stuff like that. But it's never really done anything for me. So it falls to 8 for me.
I had it at number 3. And like you said, with the video, man, those were good times with the video. And you probably end up seeing that and All Hell's Breaking Loose and Lick It Up in the same.
Yeah.
It was good time. And I like the song a lot. I think it's a good song. But the video it's stuck in my head for how many years now? How many years are we up to now with this album?
40 years?
Right?
Almost 40?
Close to 40.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, number 3 for me.
For me, at number 7, right in the middle. I like the song. I just, like you, Brent, didn't care for some of the things in the song. I mean, Tommy wasn't doing much in the song with the drums and not very inspiring. The guitar, it was kind of there, but I liked the track and I liked the video. The background singers, that wasn't Motley Crue, right? That was the producers or somebody singing that in the background, Too Young to Fall in Love.
I don't know.
I mean,
it doesn't
it's
sound
somebody
like
else.
them.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that as a kid. So, yeah, it falls as number 7.
For me, it was my number 2, and that's actually oddly kind of why. Because for me, sometimes even if a song is something that maybe kind of even drives me crazy, if it's sticking in my head, I feel like there's a reason. There's a reason that something sticks in your head like that. And being younger and hearing it, it was just that, for better or worse, depending on what time it was, it would stick in my head a lot. I mean, that one wasn't expressly for guitar, or expressly for, a specific reason that I liked that one. That one was just, it always would come back and pop up in my head. And I'm like, why? Why is it? What kind of earworm is this? So for me, I just gave it some credit for that.
So that brings us to number 2. So what's the prediction for number 2?
I predicted Too Young to Fall in Love.
Okay.
Number 2 prediction for me is Shout at the Devil in the Beginning.
Okay.
Number 2 prediction for me is Looks That Kill.
Okay. My number 2 prediction was Shout at the Devil in the Beginning. With 315 breaking into 300s, 315 points, the panel chose at number 2 Looks That Kill. Susan, I think you've been killing it on this one.
Yep.
7 panelists: Ray Kelly, Matt Ucci, Sammy Pardo, Les Wadley, Indy Colt 777. 2 of our hosts picked Looks That Kill as their favorite song. I picked Looks That Kill as 6 for me. This used to be probably my number 1 or number 2 favorite song on the album, and it's probably pushed down to 6 for me because just a little of fatigue. But I love the video. It's basically a performance video, and so you get to see this band. You get to see the way Nicky plays his bass, the way Tommy plays his drums. You get to see this band that looks a whole lot like Kiss or Wasp, and the theatrics that's all around them. I love the song. I think it's a kick-ass song, and I still turn this song up when it comes on. You know, it's just fell over time to me, so it's at number 6 for me. What about you, Aaron?
Looks to Kill, excuse me, was number 1 for me. It's just it's when I was talking before about that summer feeling, that song, you crank that up, have the windows open in the car or in the house or on the playground when I heard it, you know, with the boombox. That's just it brings back a lot of memories for me as a kid listening to that song. So definitely my number 1.
Okay.
Looks That Kill is my number 3. It's a great song. I think it was, yeah, I know it was. It was my introduction to Motley Crue. I heard that song on MTV before I got the cassette. And that video was just, it's like these 4 guys, I mean, and the girls around them, and it's like, oh, geez, I mean, how can you beat that? That video was just freaking awesome for a 9-year-old. And even now, when I look back at it and watch it, it's pretty cool. But Looks That Kill, number 3 for me.
And it's my number 1 for one reason: guitar. When I heard this song, I was like, okay, I want to play it, because I just kept I don't know, there's just something about it being guitar driven, and it just stuck in my head, and it would not get out. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to play this song now, because it's just constantly in my head. So let's see what I did there. I didn't even mean to do that.
Hey, she said it.
But yeah, so I love it. It's my number 1.
So that brings us to number 1. So let's go ahead and do if you've been playing along, you know what number 1 is. But let's go ahead and do our predictions for number 1, starting with you, Aaron.
I predicted Shout at the Devil.
I predicted Looks That Kill.
I predicted Shout at the Devil.
Okay. And I predicted Looks That Kill. And with 341 points, the panel chose as the number 1 song Shout at the Devil in the beginning. 17 panelists: Steve Rivas, Tony P, Dylan Tucker, BizBag68, Darren Helliwell, David King, Two Gay Dads, Raven FM, Sublime 130, Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead, Joe Peg, Greek Freak, Scott Epperly, Demetrius K, Mark Morris, Toy Bonnie Guy, Jeremy Kimona picked Shout at the Devil as their number 1 song. I picked Shout at the Devil for me as my number 5, and it could just as easily be number 1 or number 2. It probably, with the other competition it has for number 1, it'd probably fall to number 2. I love it, Shout the Devil. Shout the Devil set the tone of this album. They came at you with, we're going to talk about some pretty dark shit, and we're going to throw some stuff at you that you might not have exactly heard, and some lyrical content that you might not have exactly heard. And it didn't show you everything they were going to do with this album, but it gave you a pretty damn good idea between the interlude of In the Beginning and Shout the Devil. That's how you start a damn album, is with In the Beginning and with Shout at the Devil. So I love Shout the Devil. It's number 5 for me. Aaron?
Copying off of you, the number 5 for me too. Definitely a good introduction to the album. Like, get ready, get your ears ready, and here we go. And it's at 5. I like songs more than it, but it's definitely a solid beginning to an album.
Shout at the Devil, and then In the Beginning was a number 2 pick for me. Great way to lead off the album. I remember when I put that cassette tape in my boombox as a 9-year-old kid, putting that tape on, and you're expecting a song, you're expecting music to start, and then you hear that, and then the guy starts talking, you know, in the beginning, good always overpower the evils. And it's like, whoa, what is this? It's like, you know, that was freaking awesome, you know. And I heard that, I think the engineer was the one that read those lines that Nikki Sixx wrote.
Jeff Workman.
Yeah. How cool. I mean, and the sound effects behind it, so eerie, setting the tone, just like you said, Brant, setting the tone for a great song. And then when you know, Shout the Devil comes in, bum, 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 and the bass. Yeah, and talking about, you know, Nikki Sixx's bass work, very simple, but he's drowning out that bum, bum, boom, boom, boom. You can just hear that bass, and it's like, oh, man. And great lyrics, great song. Would have been my number one, but I had to switch it with Danger. It would have been my number one when I was 9 years old, though. I'd tell you that much. But it's my number two right now.
It's my number four, for one reason. Again, like we said, it's a great opening song. It really gets you in. I mean, it's just like, okay, we're not going to slow ride this. We're going straight in. But for me, a lot of times songs that are what I tend to call audience participation songs can kind of, that aspect of it can kind of mar it in my mind and kind of bring it down a few, because I automatically, in my mind or when I'm listening to it, I see everybody doing that. But if I were there or something, make no mistake, I would be fully participating and thinking it was amazing. But when I can, like, a lot of times songs that kind of beg for that, you know, audience sing-along moment or whatever, it just kind of brings them down from, you know, number one or two for me. It kind of moves it down. That's the only reason it's number four for me.
Let me recap. Number 10, we had God Bless the Children of the Beast. Number 9, Helter Skelter. Number 8, Danger. Number 7, Bastard. Number 6, Red Hot. Number 5, 10 Seconds to Love. Number 4, Knock 'em Dead Kid. Number 3, Too Young to Fall in Love. Number 2, Looks to Kill. Number 1, In the Beginning, Shout at the Devil. This is a great album. Great album. Do any of y'all have any closing thoughts on the album?
It was just, you know, part of my childhood. You know, when I think back at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, I mean, this album always just stands right out. You know, this one and Van Halen, 1984, and Quiet Riot, Mental Health. Those three albums, they're the ones that I remember the most. You know, this album, Van Halen, 1984, and you know, Mental Health by Quiet Riot.
So that's all for this panel. The next panel, 80s, that we will be doing it for Rat Out of the Cellar. One of my favorite albums from the early 80s. One of my favorite albums from Rat. And so I'm excited to do a panel on it. So by the time you watch this video, that panel post will be there for you to put your input in on Rat Out of the Cellar. And if you want to do what viewers did earlier, if you want to have a little segment video inside of this video, all you have to do is just make a less than 2-minute long video just talking about what your favorite song off of Out of the Cellar is and why, and then just send it to me via Facebook Messenger or Twitter Messenger. Those are the two that work the best, because we found out from one viewer that Instagram messages go away after a period of time. So, and I wasn't able to get it from them, so they're supposed to be sending it to me a different way. So if you send it to me on Twitter Messenger or send it to me on Facebook Messenger, then you may possibly, I'm not going to guarantee it, but you may possibly be in the next 80s panel video for Rat. So guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to sit down and talk about Shout at the Devil.
Thank you.
Hope you guys all had a good time.
Yeah, great.
Anthony, Appreciate you hanging out, and I'll be talking to you.
Thank you.
And guys, check John Be Good out on YouTube, and give his channel a subscription, and hit that bell notification, and like his videos so YouTube knows you like them, and they'll send them out to people. Be sure to check out Horror Gal Susan on YouTube as well, and do the same thing for her. And like this video too, so YouTube thinks you like it. YouTube thinks you guys don't like my videos because you never like them. So if you've watched this video, go ahead and hit the like button on it, so that way YouTube knows you like it. So that's all I've got for this one, guys. Appreciate it again. Thank you guys for being here, and that's all we got. See you next time with Rat Out of the Cellar. Thanks, guys. Okay.
My number 9 was Danger also. That
We ain't
must
got
have
the
been-
danger yet. Don't tell where you picked danger. We ain't got the danger yet.
I thought we were doing.
No. You know how we do this. You watch these videos enough. You gonna tell whenever what the panel picks. You tell where you picked it,
Okay.
not what your prediction got picked or where you picked it. Come
Right.
on, Anthony, get with the program.
And
Oh,